Crab News Break. I am one of your hosts, Terry Jeffs, and joining me today is the Beard of Gears, Vince Haley.
Good to be back. Good to be back. Miss doing
How you doing,
this.
Vince?
I'm doing great.
Getting on any
news today? Yeah.
You gonna be getting on any of that Is it Outriders this weekend?
I might give it a shot, but I'm sucked into Nier Automata again, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We shall see. And completing the Shifty Crab Triforce is the campaigner, reigner, debater, dominator.
The master debater is the actual
the master debater, Adam Berry. How are you, Adam?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. Good. Yeah, I'm just checking what we've got in the news today to make sure none of these are hoaxes, because I've fallen for about 10 today. So,
yes,
just making sure they're real.
Yeah.
Today we are filming on April Fool's Day, and just the internet is absolute wildfire. So you just kind of have to really look carefully for news. I think any real news has all been avoided from today. I was kind of looking through and seeing any announcements, but a couple of things. But yeah, I think everyone's just kind of steering clear because there's just a load of bullshit flying around, as you can expect. But no, we are only going to be bringing the real news to you today, because this is Shifty Crab News Break, where we bring you just a pinch of the week's best gaming news and talk about all those juicy games we can't wait to get our claws on. We got 7 news items on the list today. But before we get to that, just want to do a bit of housekeeping and let you know that our Sunday Funday Challenge is up, and this week's Sunday Funday Challenge was a 007. That was last Sunday's, right? Am I losing time?
No, no, you're right.
Time and space. 007 topic from Vince, which was a lot of fun for us to do. So you have to watch that and see who won that. And also the latest episode of the Shifty Crab podcast is up live, which is called Toast Your Buns, Don't Be an Idiot.
That's correct.
Toast Your Buns,
which is one of the best titles I've ever heard for a podcast. So yeah, really good podcast. Go check that one out. A bunch of random stuff we talk about as usual, including games, food, and all sorts of business. But we're going to get straight to the news, and the first story for today. Control developer Remedy working on Alan Wake 2. This is a report from Eurogamer.net, and this is by Tom Phillips. Last year, Control developer Remedy announced it had signed a 2-project publishing deal with Epic Games, and then reintroduced its fan favorite hero Alan Wake via Control's excellent second expansion, which wove the story of both games together as part of Remedy's wider narrative universe. Was Wake being teed up to tease a full sequel to his Xbox 360 cult hit? After Epic's publishing deal was announced for a big AAA multi-platform game already in pre-production and a new smaller scale project set in the same franchise, fans' hopes were high that Wake would also appear in one of these games. Now, chatty but reliable VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb has announced via his Twitch he had heard Alan Wake 2 was one of Remedy's Epic-funded projects. Grubb went on to state that this signified a change in strategy for Epic, which had moved to funding new projects from the ground up, rather than buying exclusivity for projects which had already been announced. We've asked Remedy to comment. Alan Wake fans have been waiting for a full sequel to the cult hit Xbox 360 game since 2010. A smaller downloadable follow-up named Alan Wake's American Nightmare was released in 2012. God, it's been that long. To bridge the gap between larger releases, but despite various attempts over the years, a sequel has never materialized. Adam, do you have any experience with the Alan Wake games?
Yeah, I played the first one.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, do you know what? This isn't normally my sort of game. I'm not a huge... I wouldn't quite call this a horror, but that sort of style of game. But I really liked it. I was quite hooked on this one, and I thought it was a really well-paced game, and I thought it was really well written, and I had a lot of fun with it. So,
what about you, Vince?
No, I missed out completely on Alan Wake, and I have yet to play Control because I own a Series X, and the only version that actually runs well on Series X is the Ultimate Edition, which you still
Oh
have to
yeah.
buy for $30.
Mm.
So I might be boycotting that game. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, the base version is available on Game Pass for free anyway, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you put the complete edition on there? I guess because DLC and all that. But I don't know. I'm still eager to check it out just because everybody loves Control. So I might give it a shot at some point. Who knows?
I gotta say that's really surprised me because I would have laid money down
Yeah.
that Vince was an Alan Wake fan because you're an Xbox guy, and that's just something that I very much. When I think of Xbox 360, I just think Alan Wake. I remember when I think it was. Oh wait, no, because Alan Wake was still originally meant to come out on the Xbox, wasn't it? And it got delayed and delayed.
I believe
And
so.
I remember just watching that. It almost became a bit of a meme before there was even memes back in the day, because it was just delayed for so long. I was like, is this game even real? Because we just saw like the odd screenshot. But all I knew was it was Remedy. It was the developers of Max Payne. I just want to see what this is. It looks really cool. Yeah, and then I finally got it on the Xbox 360. Yeah, and same as you, Adam. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was as good as Max Payne was like in its day, but it was really cool, like very Stephen. If you like anything like Stephen King, like and just the kind of weirdness, and I love anything like that. And I don't know if it did that well commercially, which is why it didn't really get a full sequel. But I think people after Control, which I've yet to play, but I know I'm gonna love that. I hope that the hunger will be there now for that game because I think that people need to go back and give it a try.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think I played maybe 10 minutes of Control and life got in the way and I never went back to it. I don't think it's going to be a game that I'll massively love, but I do really want to give it a good try because everyone likes it. But if it's going to scratch that itch of Alan Wake, because obviously the DLC has Alan Wake in it, I'd quite I'll probably do it just for that, basically. So
yeah, do go give it a try. Story number 2, CD Projekt to develop Witcher Cyberpunk AAA games simultaneously starting in 2022. This is over at IGN.com and story is by Rebecca Valentine. After a long, drawn-out development for Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt is preparing to shift gears for future AAA projects and work on games in both the Witcher and Cyberpunk franchises simultaneously beginning in 2022. During a strategy update presentation today, CD Projekt outlined how it's going to achieve its goals to develop 2 AAA games in 2 different franchises simultaneously, saying it intends to staff up over the next year and have development teams working on both projects at once, including leads. It's also planning to adjust the capabilities of its internal game engine to allow features like NPC routines and player character control to be adapted in multiple games at once. Quote, we want to be sure that we can work with 2 global brands at the same time while ensuring top quality of our products, said CTO Powell I'm going to really mess this up. Zawadny? Quote, we emphasize technology advancements and we want to set up versatile teams which combine various specializations and competencies. These teams will it's quite late. These teams will be further assisted by a cross-projects group of experts who, owing to their expertise, can contribute to key aspects of development. All these changes aim to enable us to work on multiple AAA games and expansions in parallel starting in 2022. Though the presentation did not specify what either of these games would be, a CD Projekt made a point to say it was going to be more careful with how early it made announcements in the future, given criticism of Cyberpunk's transformations from its original announcement. It did say it wants to continue adding onto the traditional RPG, The Witcher. For instance, The Witcher, for instance, began as a traditional RPG, added action elements, and Cyberpunk took those genres and added shorter elements as well. It also addresses, albeit indirectly, criticisms of massive crunch at the studio ahead of Cyberpunk 2077, despite reassurances from studio leadership that they would do no such thing, saying that it was putting in place new support systems to minimize stress and prevent burnout, including more mental health support. Did not go into specifics. So, yeah, very different strategy for this studio from what we've kind of seen over the last decade or so. Do you think this is kind of gonna benefit what we see coming out of them, like in the near future?
Honestly, probably not. I mean, we got Cyberpunk 2077, and it is what it is, a mess. And that took the entire development team working through crunch as well to put out that game in the state it was in is iffy at best. Like, sometimes that game is unplayable from what, I've seen how badly it runs. Just in general, that game is not up to par with what CD Projekt Red has put out before. Now take that experience and divide the entire team into two, work on two separate projects. I mean, that doesn't sound like a great idea to me. I mean, you're taking a development team who have botched one launch, breaking them up and splitting them into two camps to work on two different games. That just doesn't sit right with me in some ways. Plus, I mean, the fact that, Cyberpunk still broken. I mean, yeah, we're probably going to give them the entire of 2021 to try and fix it, but
they have just released the most recent. I haven't included this in the news, but they did just release a major patch, I believe, for the previous gen consoles, which has fixed a lot of stuff. But I don't think it's obviously fixed it completely. But I think it's the biggest major patch they've had so far since release.
Yeah, but I mean, with the way that game releasing, it needs something probably more.
Yeah,
we're probably going to get that throughout 2021. But will that game be in a state where it's, I guess, what people expected it to be when it released at the end of 2021, so they can start working on these new projects into 2022? I guess we'll see. I mean, only time will tell on that one, honestly.
Adam, do you agree or?
Yeah, I agree. If you look at this from the point of view of Shifty Crab, okay, let's say we were putting out bad content because we didn't have enough time and enough people, so we were just scraping by and putting out whatever we could, and then we decided, you know what we'll do? We'll work on this double the amount of shows, and that's going to go well. It's not they've shown that with Cyberpunk that they just went wrong in so many areas. What they need to do is, whatever their next game is, if it's The Witcher, which you presume it would be, just don't do all these promises of saying we're going to have NPCs do this, blah, blah, blah. Just make a good game with barely any drama. Get a good game out there in a good working order and get some good grace back. Because people will be waiting for CD Projekt Red to fail. They're now becoming that studio, and that's a shame. Now, I tried to be an optimist and think, well, they know what they're doing with The Witcher. They'd probably put out a decent Witcher, even though Witcher 3 started with a lot of bugs. And surely they've got to learn from this Cyberpunk mess. But then this news is a little bit of an alarm bell, just going, why would you split your time over two games this soon? Just focus on one. But hey, we don't own a game studio, they do. So,
I mean, I imagine they've put all their eggs into one basket over the last, when did The Witcher 3 release? 2015? Something like that?
Maybe a little bit earlier. But
around a while ago,
Yeah, even before that. So they've put all their eggs in one basket for the Cyberpunk and 27, and you could argue past the initial sales, it hasn't paid off in regards to the reception, and all the everything surrounding it, and they're probably thinking, oh, for God's sake, like we put everything into this one game, and this is what we've got to show for it. Maybe let's not go quite so bold with the next releases. Maybe work on, I don't know, like smaller products, like whether it's like a full-fledged game or like more kind of like I imagine they're going to be working on a DLC for Cyberpunk. So rather than thinking let's just have all the staff working on that, although they kind of should be to try and fix it right now, let's kind of mix it up a little bit between, you know, that and The Witcher and stuff like that, rather than just kind of waiting 5 years and then have something like this which comes out which could go either way. And at the same time, I imagine, again, regardless of all the negativity and all the bad press that's surrounding Cyberpunk 2077, it was huge. It was a huge release, and they must have made an absolute boatload of cash on the back of this. So they're probably looking to expand the team and split them up into different sectors. I imagine similar to like what Naughty Dog are doing right now, because back in the day, Naughty Dog were very much just like they work on their one franchise. It was Crash Bandicoot, it was Jak and Daxter, then it was Uncharted. But then once Uncharted became, you know, made them the studio they are, they went off into two different directions. One would work on The Last of Us, one would work on Uncharted 3, and, you know, and again, and around we go. So I get for a studio to take the transition of where they've gone to, I think this is kind of natural. So like the Rockstar method, they've done the same thing. But yeah, it's iffy because, like you said, Adam, we just don't know it, which is such a shame because pre this releasing, you just associated them with quality and just like, and not just quality, but value for money and how they, like, you know, look to their community and stuff like that. And now I'm hoping they don't go down the same route as BioWare, where it's like each game now, again, in BioWare back in the day, like they were like you associated with the highest of quality when it came to RPGs, Western RPGs, and now we just don't know what we're going to get every time a game like that comes out. I hope that's not the case. I hope they can steer the shit back again, but as you said, it's going to take a lot of effort to get that goodwill back again.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on to story number 3. Sony confirms PS3, PS Vita, PSP store closures, downloads will be retained. This is over at Push Square, and the story is by Sammy Barker. Sony has officially confirmed the closure of its legacy PlayStation 3, PS Vita, and PSP storefronts, as previously reported. PS3 and PSP will be closed on 2nd of July, while PS Vita will shut on 27th of August. While you'll still be able to download all of your previous software and video purchases, including PS Plus titles, as long as you remain a member, you won't be able to buy any new games from the PS Store on those platforms once they've been retired. As part of an email to customers, the Japanese giant explained that the decision to retire the storefronts has been made in order to focus efforts on the PS5 and PS4. The correspondence thanks players for their support on the platforms and notes that this transition will allow it to enhance the customer experience even further. Quote, you will no longer be able to purchase PS3, PS Vita, and PSP digital content, including games and video content, the email reads. You will also no longer be able to make in-game purchases through games on PS3, PS Vita, and PSP. However, you will be able to download any software you've purchased previously for the foreseeable future. The email explains you will still be able to download your own PS3, PS Vita, and PSP content, including games and video content. You can download your own content onto your PS3, Vita, and PSP by accessing the download list on the respective device. There is a caveat regarding PS3 and Vita cross-buy bundles. If you have purchased a PS3 and PS Vita cross-buy bundle and have only downloaded either the PS3 or PS Vita version, you will need to download the other version prior to the closure of PS Store on the relevant device. Our understanding, despite the wording here, is that you'll need to ensure both versions of the game are in your download list before the closure, as you won't have a means to verify your purchases beyond that. On that note, cross-buy content for PS5 and PS4 games, which include PS3, PS Vita, and PSP versions, will continue to work as before. Any games that you've acquired through PS Plus will be retained as part of your library and will be yours to download at any time as long as you have an active membership. Unused wallet funds will also be retained on your account, but you won't be able to spend them once the aforementioned dates have elapsed. You will still be able to redeem PS Plus vouchers and game codes in the future, such as pre-order bonuses and DLC packs, but you won't be able to add funds beyond the aforementioned dates. So, Adam, we spoke about this in last week's news when it was a rumor at that point, which has now been confirmed by Sony. Vince, I haven't heard your thoughts on this. I'm very interested to hear what you got to say. I'm sure you've got some absolute spicy takes on this one.
Spicy takes, for sure. I mean, I can understand the Vita and the PSP, they weren't super big hits. I don't even think you can't buy them anymore. Like, there's maybe a handful of Vita games on, like, even mom and pop store shelves. Like, it wasn't the biggest hitter in terms of, sales, popularity, any of that. But now to completely take, the store and shut it down, those few users who do have, PS Vita and want to buy those games now won't be able to, at least until what, July 2nd? No, August 27th, right? For the Vita.
Yeah, for the Vita. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So get it while you can, I guess. If there was something on the Vita that you want to play but you haven't played yet, grab it. But the PS3 thing is wild. Like, I mean, I know we are now 2 generations past that, but there's still people who probably play on the PS3. There's still people who are looking to download the content on the PS3. While, PS5s aren't really available much now, or as of yet, people are still probably playing, their PS4 game, their PS4s, their PS3s, just to have something to play. And it's kind of weird because it's almost the opposite of what Xbox is doing. Where they're trying to, they're wanting to preserve that library even through console generations. So you're seeing them push backwards compatibility. You're seeing them put games up on not just Game Pass, but also up on the Xbox store where you can download original Xbox games. Like, that's awesome. That's kind of what you need to do in order to preserve your legacy. I know Sony has this, old game is old kind of mentality to where, nobody's going to want to buy or play whatever game on the PS3 or whatever. But you're probably going to have those people that are, kind of like you, Terry. You like retro games. You like your retro style games. You want to go back and see what those systems had to offer.
Hell yeah.
Now you kind of can't unless you have a physical copy of the game, which is probably going to be harder and harder to find as collectors are going to want them. You can't download them from the store because it's going offline now. You're not going to be able to go through and see those games unless they get either remastered or re-released on the PS5 or PS4 store, which you don't really see Sony doing a lot. I mean, there's not a whole lot of old school games that you can download through the PlayStation Store. I mean, I don't use it a lot, so my information may not be that accurate. But you're kind of losing out on a lot of games, and it's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, to echo, Adam, sorry, did you want to add anything to this since you had the story previously?
Yeah, I've had the story. There's just a little bit of a follow-up, really, from this. So I guessed that we would be talking about this today because of, obviously, the announcement being about the downloads being retained. And I was interested at something that I kind of like doing, which is a bit nerdy, but whatever. I like to look at Google Trends, and see what words are searching and stuff like that. And I thought when we're doing this, I'm going to check to see if the phrase PS Vita and jailbreak together appear, and if it's gone up. And it has gone up 210% in the last 2 weeks. Wow. And listen, I'm not condoning jailbreaking. We don't at Shifty Crab condone jailbreaking, but you can see where people are coming from. If they're saying, if you're going to shut the stores and people are just going to
Oh yeah, why
hoard these
not? Yeah.
games,
Mhm.
and I'm not going to be. People are going to price me out of the games. Why do I just jailbreak this piece of tech that you're not going to do anything with now, and just play all the games I want? You can understand why people are looking at this. So yeah, I think that's just an interesting thing that, as we said on the show last week, why don't Sony, especially for the Vita and the PSP, say in the last week, going, you can fit whatever you can onto your memory cards or whatever, it is free. Because what they're going to do, just say like that, at least that's going to get more eyes on a product, and then that might lead to people playing a follow-up game that's still available on a different console. That's just going to get eyes on the product, but they're not going to do that. So
No.
Yeah, I wonder if they will do and I don't know how this works at the moment, because I wonder if there will be any sales going on through the store before it closes, because I don't know if it's that goes down to each publisher deciding on if they want to do that.
probably.
But I know like for me, the biggest thing out of this for me is the Vita, because the PS3, it's been a long while, and I get that. And to be honest, my PS4 and now the PS5 has replaced that for me. There's not really. I'm trying to think of any games that I can think of that I thought, a digital game that I didn't buy and I can't really think of anything. So if I can't think of anything, it's not going to bother me. The PSP, again, the same thing. I have a PSP and a PSP Go. So the PSP Go is going to become mostly obsolete, other than the games that I purchased digitally. I've still got my original PSP, so if there's any particular game I want to buy, I'll buy it on UMD disc, and I'll play it that way. And I don't think that, unless I haven't really checked, but I don't think they're crazy prices at the moment, UMD like PSP games. But for me, the real kick in the teeth is the Vita, because I played the Vita a lot still. And not only that, like last year, I bought a lot of Vita games, like digitally. And I only buy my Vita games digitally. And from what I hear, the physical games were already expensive, and now they're just going to go through the roof in rarity. Because I thought, I'll just go and buy the ones I didn't get physically, but that's going to be even harder. So yeah, this is really like, first of all, I'm glad that obviously we can download, because that was the one thing I was really panicking about, because I was like, if we can't download the games, I'm going to be super pissed off. But at least we can do that. But it has made me think, okay, shit, I need to really make a list of any games that I still want to get. And I know there's a bunch of games on the store that I haven't bought yet, because I was waiting maybe for them to drop in price, although I kind of knew they wouldn't, because there hasn't been any sales on the Vita store for a long time. Yeah. But it's like odd games with like Tearaway, for instance. Like I never played Tearaway back in the day. It's always a game that I've always wanted to get around to playing. And I thought, I'll buy that at some point, and I'm going to have to buy that. So there's going to be a bunch of games for me to get. So yeah, that it is a bit annoying, because it does. And yeah, like you said, Vince, it's just so frustrating to see what Xbox are doing. And like PlayStation have such a legacy of games and franchises, and it's just like they're just chucking them away. And I really find it frustrating. But what you said, Vince, actually made me think that I never really gave it a thought. But the PS3, surely, like I would have thought in countries like South America, for instance, which always are quite like they're quite delayed in adapting to the new generation. I know like the PS2 like sold for so long there, and then the PS3, like I imagine there's probably still, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's changed, but probably still a lot of people playing PlayStation 3s, like and maybe they certainly aren't jumping on the PlayStation 5 like bus just yet. I just feel like surely there's many people there that are still using that store and downloading stuff and purchasing stuff. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But
one little question I just have regarding this before we go on is the store closes and come October, PlayStation announced the follow-up, the predecessor. They said, okay, here comes the Vita 2, or it won't be a Vita, but something like that. Would that soften the blow for you, that the reason they've shut the store is because it's a new UI, it's a new software for the new handheld console? Do you think that would soften the blow at all for you? I'm not saying, do you think it'll happen? Would that that appease you?
It would, but because I know that's just
It's not going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
not all.
No.
Yeah, that would be
Not at all.
that'd be perfect. But yeah, even if they did bring out a new handheld, which they won't, it probably wouldn't even be compatible with the Vita. It'd be
Oh, no,
like,
of course it won't.
Yeah,
Of course it
absolutely
won't.
not.
it'd just be like, oh, for God's sake. But yeah, it's so frustrating because they kind of did it with the PSP. That's the thing. Like with the Vita, kind of did that. That's why I'm not too bothered about the PSP store, because the Vita store just replaced that. You could just download your PSP games to your Vita. It was just all in one. That's what that's what I love about that console. It's just like, but yeah, it's just frustrating. It just really is, and just.
I think we need to move on before Terry gets in a bad mood.
Honestly, it's really, of all the news lately, it's really bothered me. But anyway, moving on to story number 4. This year's Call of Duty returns to World War II. This is over at Eurogamer.net, and it's by Wesley Yin Paul. This year's Call of Duty returns to World War II, according to fresh reports, in part verified by Eurogamer. Modern Warzone reported this year's new Call of Duty is in development at Sledgehammer Games, maker of 2017's well-received Call of Duty World War II, and is due out late 2021. Eurogamer sources have indicated that this is indeed true. Modern Warzone also reports this game is codenamed Call of Duty World War II Vanguard, and reports the name will be changed in the future. While this may indeed be the case, Eurogamer understands Activision's current plan is to stick with the Vanguard subtitle for the final version. Modern Warzone also reports the entire game takes place in an alternate timeline where 1945 wasn't the end of World War II and is set in the 1950s. Eurogamer understands this detail isn't quite right, and Vanguard has a traditional World War II setting. Call of Duty games tend to leak before they're officially announced, and Eurogamer has verified Call of Duty leaks in each of the last 5 years. The headline this time around, though, is Call of Duty's return to World War II. Vanguard will be just the second World War II Call of Duty released in the last decade. It comes after a Modern Warfare set in the present day and a Black Ops Cold War game set during the 1980s. So, the article goes on a little bit more there. You can go check that out Eurogame. But I just wanted to discuss with you guys, because this one, I'm not a big Call of Duty fan. I've dropped off it probably over a decade ago, so I don't really have much to say about the franchise now. But I am always more interested in the World War II kind of stuff. Although I didn't play the last Sledgehammer game, if I was to play any of the Call of Duties, that probably be the one to go to. So yeah, I mean, this interests me, and I feel like we need to see. I see a lot of people joking about this, like, oh, do we really need more World War II shooters? But I feel like, as it just noted, like we only had one in the last 10 years. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Vince? I know you like a bit of COD.
It's all right. I mean, it's definitely declined in years, but it's just kind of weird because, I mean, it says that we haven't seen a World War II game, well, the second Call of Duty World War II game, and released in the last decade, but we have gotten like Wolfenstein and stuff like that. That is, alternate history, World War II style, which is what he kind of reported on Modern Warzone, but Eurogamer says that might not be right. Which, I mean, if they do that, it's going to be hard not to compare it to Wolfenstein, because Wolfenstein's real good. Play Wolfenstein. But that being said, I used to love World War II shooters. Those were always great back in the day, with Medal of Honor, Call of Duty when it first started out. That was kind of it, wasn't it? Just those two big titles.
They were the two. It was originally Medal of Honor, and then Call of Duty came along and took the crown.
True. But that was always kind of like my preferred style. And then they shifted to Modern Warfare, which the first one was good. 2 and 3, okay at best. But the previous Sledgehammer World War II Call of Duty was okay. It ends super abruptly. Like, I would actually like to go back into, where they left off, because it's wild. Trust me. I kind of don't want to spoil it if you want to play it, but it's wild where they end off. They touched on a really sensitive topic, and I was not here for that for a little bit. But anyway, It'd be interesting to see. I know Sledgehammer makes really good games. I can't remember off the top of my head what else they did before Call of Duty. I mean,
Oh,
I'm actually going to look that up. Adam, do you have anything to say about this?
Is Adam on it?
I could. I was gonna look it up if you're looking it up, Vince. Yeah. First of all, pew pew, new location. Like that's basically what it is. Like older guns, different location. Like they'll eventually be turned into maps for online. So
Yeah.
the stories are usually okay at best. The 50s setting in an alternate reality where the war continues, that's actually something that would be interesting.
If that was true, which it sounds like it probably isn't, that piqued my interest. I'm like, okay, that's something different. Like going into
That'd
the
be cool.
50s, like something a little bit different. Like
love the 50s aesthetic and stuff like that. Yeah. Like,
and then it makes me realize the only reason I'm really interested in that is because it's fictional, and then it makes me realize, oh, that's why I don't like. I don't kind of feel like I am drawn to Call of Duty because I'm not into that kind of real world. I would prefer playing something like Wolfenstein, something a bit crazier, a bit fantasy, like but yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Adam, but yeah.
No, I agree. And I think the issue that they have, like I prefer the World War II games and stuff like that compared to the modern ones. I haven't played Cold War yet. I'll probably will give that a go at some time, not for the online, for the story, because 80s, you get a bit of espionage in there. That just for the setting, I'm sure the game's terrible. But like the issue with the World War II games, I always find is one, there's very little you can do with a story. Two, we all know the outcome of the war. So there's only so much you can do.
Why can't we have a Band of Brothers type game? Why have we never had anything at that level?
Band of Brothers was incredible. And I would love them to go do something that big. But
I mean,
I don't think
they tried with Call of Duty World War II.
A little bit. Yeah. No, I guess, Adam, now I think about it. Right? Yeah, I played World War II, yeah.
What did you think of that ending? Very abrupt, right?
Yeah, that's not why you should end that game.
No, it's not.
That's not why you should end that game. Like, it's not, I don't know. It's such a... It's such a slap in the choice. Face, isn't it? Yeah, it's such a choice to make. I have a feeling, I'm not sure, but I believe we've lost Terry.
Oh, we might have lost Terry.
Oh, have you? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're not moving on our screen.
Oh, no.
So we will continue and talking about this. And if you pop back in, that's great. If not, we'll work it out.
You take the floor and I'll be back.
The floor. So that is such an abrupt way to end World War II. And that was Sledgehammer. Maybe this is what comes next.
I hope so, because that was a weird way to leave it.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, if you haven't played it, we're not going to say what it is, but it's a bit of a slap in the face.
A bit, yeah.
Well, that's a bit of an understatement, I guess. Have you played any of the more modern ones? Have you played Warzone or anything? Have you jumped in there or?
No, I haven't. Just because the thing that definitely turns me off the most about Call of Duty is the multiplayer.
Oh, I hate it.
Just because that's a garbage fire of online play at all.
Yeah.
And I always see these videos pop up either like Twitter or Facebook or something where it's cheaters, modders always popping in there, doing their thing. It just doesn't look fun to me, which has always kind of been Call of Duty's things. Like you will always, majority of the time, either find modders or find people who just play multiplayer by sitting in a corner camping and waiting for people to walk by, which isn't super fun for a supposedly fast-paced shooter.
Yeah,
that's something you don't want.
I can't remember the last time I downloaded a Call of Duty game to ever because of the multiplayer. Usually now, because you can select what you download, I wouldn't even download the multiplayer. I'm like, no, just give me the campaign. I just do the story, and I haven't done that in a little while either. I think the last one I did was World War II. because
Really?
I'm not a big fan of the modern ones. And obviously, there's the Cold War, then there
Mm.
was Warzone, and then
Yeah.
it was the remaster, wasn't it? Before that, and then
Yeah. The Modern
and
Warfare
then
2
it was
remaster.
then it was World War II before that. So, um, or whichever order. World War II was the last campaign I played, and there was no point playing the remaster. I'd already played it, and so and it is what it is. You shoot people.
I mean,
Um,
I liked Modern Warfare. I actually I think rented that game or something and played through the campaign in that. And that was actually pretty good. Like
or maybe I'll try that one then.
I was actually kind of invested in that. It's it's weird because it's kind of a prequel to the old Modern Warfare games, but also
Okay.
kind of its own thing.
I know you play
I don't know.
multiple characters like normal, don't you? And they're very different, uh,
Yeah, you play
like
like
style.
a couple of multiple characters. You go back and forth, but their storylines connect
Of course.
in a much more I guess easier way. If I had
So
to
it
say,
actually
I don't
makes
know if
sense for once instead of
yeah, it
just
makes sense.
randomly ending up in the same place.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
kind of working to take down this terrorist organization. You have one character doing um ops in London, and you have another character doing it in the Middle East, kind of exchanging information back and forth like that. So it was actually pretty interesting because I don't know, I liked it. I thought it
No,
was actually really good for what it was for a
maybe I'll
Call of
give
Duty
that one a
campaign.
go.
Actually,
I might give that one a go then on your review. I'll give it a go. But
yeah.
I guess I'm taking the reins now and moving on with the news. And we're going to
Oh,
go
I
over
did find
to.
out Sledgehammer information.
Oh, did you? So yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Sledgehammer. What did they make before?
So Sledgehammer was founded in 2009 to specifically work on Call of Duty with Activision.
Oh,
But
okay.
the company was formed by Glenn Schofield and Michael Condrey, who previously worked at Visceral Games on Dead Space. So that's where
Okay,
I
that makes
remember them
sense.
from, and I loved Dead Space.
Yeah.
Great set of games, except for
What
3.
about Dead Space 2 and 3? Did you like them?
2 is great, 3 is garbage.
That's the consensus, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. They peaked with 2, and then 3 was just an EA mess, unfortunately.
Speaking of a mess, we're going to be talking about No Man's Sky's Expeditions mode is out today. This is over at Game Informer, written by Daniel Tack. It says No Man's Sky pushes out a big content patch today with the Expeditions update, which is essentially adds seasonal experiences to the game. In Expeditions, everyone starts fresh with a number of milestones to seek. Some are very simple and get you involved in phase structure, while others are far more advanced. Completed milestones offer rewards to let you speed along your journey, and each completed phase brackets set of milestones offers a unique special reward. Basically, if you're looking to capture the experience and the essence of playing No Man's Sky anew, Expeditions are exactly the kind of system that you're looking for. Will you capture that first time playing feel over and over again? And then it goes on a little bit more. There's a full list of the things here. I'll read through a few of them from the tweet by Sean Murray of No Man's Sky. It says it adds galactic expeditions, mission patches, new HUD and 4K UI, expedition planner, visor tech, cross save rewards, sentinel balance, performance and load optimized, cross platform name merge, improved pinning, and ongoing seasons. Vince, I suppose it's a two-part question for you. One, have you played No Man's Sky? Two, does this make, if you haven't, does this make you want to play No Man's Sky?
I mean, I have not played No Man's Sky. I don't feel the urge to play it just because it seems not up my alley. I mean, it is like an open world kind of, well, open universe, I guess you could say, because every planet's randomly generated. But it's also that survival type style game, and I'm not a huge fan of that because it it doesn't suck me in as most games would. But Expeditions seems actually interesting, where it kind of gives you a goal and an end goal that you're kind of building towards to kind of push you through exploration. It kind of sounds cool, but I don't know. I might look into it more and might see if this will kind of get me into the No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I tried No Man's Sky and it didn't really gel with me. And I tried quite early on, though, to be fair, when it was a hot mess. And I know they've done a lot of work to improve this game, but I've just never really had the urge to go back, and I don't think I will. I don't think I will go back to it. This doesn't really make me want to, but I'm sure it's going to be really good for a few people. Mr. Terry Jeffs is back in the room.
I am back. Sorry, guys, I had to do a quick reboot there.
It's all right. We all have to do a reboot every once in a while.
Yeah.
So we're talking about No Man's Sky. Obviously, they've just released their new Expedition mode, which is out today. So I've read through the article, and I was just wondering if you've played No Man's Sky, and if you haven't, does this make you want to?
Yeah, so I did. I was extremely hyped for the launch of No Man's Sky, and I enjoyed the beginning of it. It was very kind of sparse at the beginning of the launch, and very stripped back, obviously way stripped back compared to what the content it has now. But I enjoyed my time with it, but I didn't stick around long because I knew there wasn't much of an end goal to kind of get on with there, so I just kind of dropped away from it. But I have just loved seeing, like, for me, this is like the other Final Fantasy 14 like turnaround story. This is like where they've just completely turned it around. It wasn't exactly the flop that the Final Fantasy 14 launch game was, but it was not what it promised to be, and they have completely delivered on that promise now, and they've just keep adding so much content to this. It's got such a loyal player base, and they've added so much stuff at no extra cost. I just really admire how the guys over there just like, and Sean Murray and the crew are just constantly just got their heads down, just adding more content. And every time I see it, I feel like, I get like, that kind of FOMO. Like I feel like I miss that. So yeah, I do want to return to it at one point, but it's one of those games where I feel like I'm in no rush to get back to it, because I know that whatever point I do, it's just going to be even better. They're just going to keep adding more content to it. But no, I think they're doing great stuff with it. And again, they only just released like an update recently, didn't they? Prior to this.
Yeah, and I think there's one around Christmas time, wasn't there?
Yeah. So it's just more stuff. Oh, I will tell them now.
No, I'm here.
But yeah, no, it's just great. I just love seeing it. I just want it to go on and just keep improving, keep getting better, and it's just good, more good stuff for that community over there.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next story, which is PlayStation Plus games for April 2021 announced. This over at IGN, and the story is by Wesley LeBlanc. Sony has revealed that Oddworld Soulstorm, Days Gone, and Zombie Army 4 Dead War are the PlayStation Plus games for April 2021. Announced on the PlayStation blog, all 3 games will be available for download beginning Tuesday, April the 6th, and PS Plus subscribers will have until Monday, May the 3rd, to add the games to the libraries. All 3 games will be available to download on PlayStation 5, but Oddworld Soulstorm will not be available for PlayStation 4 subscribers. The game also won't be available to subscribers in the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and South Korea. Oddworld Soulstorm is actually launching the same day it's available for PS5 PS Plus subscribers. It was shown in Sony's February 2021 State of Play. You can go check out our live reactions to that on Shifty Crab, of course, which is when it was given its April 6th release date. If you're excited for this game to drop next week, be sure to check out this. Sorry, it goes into that one. Anyway, Days Gone was originally released in 2019 as a PlayStation 4 game, but has since been given a PS5 update that allows the game to run at 60 frames per second with a dynamic 4K resolution. You can check out our thoughts on the game over on the article. And then Zombie Army 4 Dead War was released last year, and you can read our thoughts on the game in IGN's Zombie Army 4 Dead War review. So that's that. So I see a lot of people kind of like kicking off about Days Gone being included on PS Plus when it's already in the PlayStation Collection. But yeah, it's very important to point out that the PlayStation Collection is for PlayStation 5 owners only. Like, so for anyone that doesn't have a PlayStation 5, and they don't own Days Gone, which I'm sure is a lot of people, they're going to get that. They're going to get that free, which is quite a decent release.
Yeah, it's a decent sized game.
Yes.
And I think they've done a lot to fix some of the initial issues that were with that game. And I think it's a lot of companies have gone back and reviewed it since then and have given it a much better score. So
yeah, I mean, the Oddworld was no surprise to us because we knew that was coming anyway, didn't we? We knew that was coming out on release and stuff like that. But are you going to be checking that out, Vince, at some point when one day when you get a PlayStation 5?
Oh yeah, but by the time I get a PlayStation 5, it won't be free. But I definitely kind of want to give it a check out and see, because I like Oddworld games. They're really good. They're really fun. So I was very excited to see this, probably for the 5th time in that state of play again, along with what was it? Blood? No, I forget what it was.
Deathstroke's always that. Definitely, Deathstroke.
That Deathstroke. That's DCEU. Well,
yeah,
yeah, which was a bit of a lackluster, state of play, but had some highlights. Soulstorm being one of them because I just think that game looks.
That looks really cool.
It looks great.
It does
one thing I will say about Days Gone, though, the thing that I think PlayStation needs to stop doing, because it has happened a few times, PlayStation have just taken Days Gone off PlayStation Now. It left in January on PlayStation Now, and now they've moved it to PlayStation Plus. It's just switching between the two, and that's a bit of I think that's the issue with the PlayStation platform as it is, to have PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus as two separate things. I understand why it's kind of two separate things. PlayStation Plus you need for the online, and it gives you stuff like that. But they can just take a game off one of them and say, okay, now we're going to move it over to PlayStation Plus. And realistically, there's no reason to do that.
There's no reason to remove any of their own games off of PlayStation Now. What are they gaining? They're games. It's not like it's not like on Netflix where a license runs out or something. Like if you go on Netflix, those Netflix originals are always going to be there. It's their content. Why take it away from PlayStation Now? Why take away that value for that? I mean, this is. I mean, we feel like we're saying this over and over again, but PlayStation.
They're dropping the ball a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, if you remember a while back, Gears 5 was one of Xbox's games with gold, but they also had that up on Game Pass as well.
Yeah.
So if you had Game Pass, of course you already had it, but if you didn't have Game Pass, you can get it free through games with gold.
And then people complained about that, saying this isn't a good enough exclusive because we could already have that. You can't please people. You can't please people, Vince.
Not at all.
I just thought we talked about this. I can't remember what we were talking about. I think it was with you, Terry. It might have been on the last news, where it just made us feel a bit sick. Oh, it was Nintendo Switch with Mario.
All Stars.
So obviously, where they're saying you can't buy that game anymore. It's done.
Gone now.
It's like, I'm sorry, who the fuck owns the Mario franchise? Oh, it's yourselves. So which license are you struggling with here? Like, just give people the game.
I see this tweet on Twitter today. I think it might have even been you, Vince, that liked it. And I saw it. The most underrated tweet I've seen. It didn't even that many likes. And it was someone with their Switch case of Mario All Stars. Yeah. And it with the empty slot. And it's like, They came in the night, the window's open, they took it, guys, it's gone, it's been done. Oh, it's so funny.
It was great.
So funny.
Yeah, those robbing expletives. All right.
Yeah, but it is frustrating. But no, just going back to what we were saying just about PlayStation in general, it's just like it's oh my god, you see what Xbox are doing over there, and you just feel like, what are you? Like, just everything with PlayStation Now and it's just all over the place. Just give us one thing. Like, you've got the contents there. You know what I mean? Like you've built up over 25 years now of creating an amazing franchise. You just put it all together in a cohesive way and give people a way to like, just it's very frustrating. They need to get their act together now.
Yeah. Could you imagine, like, if PlayStation went down the same route as Xbox and just said, a tweet went out tomorrow, not on April the 1st, like April the 2nd. It said, play the Metal Gear Solid trilogy, the original game. Metal Gear Solid is now available on PlayStation Now. Metal Gear Solid, Sons of Liberty. Like you can play all the Metal Gear Solid games because they have most of it, but they have the later ones anyway on there. Here you go. We've just added them to the collection. We're going to do the PlayStation Vintage collection.
Yeah.
PlayStation Classics. And then like Ape Escape. All those sort of games. Just throw them on there. I understand that you can't, like, there's a rendering problem with it, something to do with PlayStation 3 games, isn't there? But
yeah, because of the cell chip, they can't you can't emulate it. So I've actually still got my original PlayStation 3, which has the PS1 and PS, because when the PS3 came out, oh my god, what the original launch PS3, what an amazing console, because I was still playing my PS2 quite heavily. I was still going play my PS1 games, and the fact that it could upscale them to 1080p. But I was still playing Final Fantasy 12 on the PS2, so I kind of crossed over, and then I was like, upscaling it on my HD TV. I was like, oh my god, like it was such a difference. And then that PS3 ended up breaking, and then replaced it with one that didn't have that emulator in it anymore, because I think apparently that was causing the chip to the board to overheat or something like that. I don't even know. Whatever their reasons were, they'd never clarified it. But
money.
And since then we've never been able to kind of get that emulator back. But it's really, really frustrating.
I believe it was the only way they could bring the price down to rival Xbox was to take the emulator out, I think, to get the production costs down.
The original PlayStation 3 was just
so expensive.
It was. I think they were. I think I remember reading this. I think it was Phil Harrison. I think I heard an interview with Phil Harrison. It might have even been on IGN Unfiltered, and I think he didn't give the exact amount, but it was basically it was costing over $1,000 to make a PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
it was costing them over $1,000 to make a PlayStation 3, and then they were selling them at what were they selling, like
400 or something?
Yeah, 400. Yeah, £400. Like, so they were making.
600?
I think you could.
Yeah, $600. I think it was about over £400. But they were making like a huge loss. But when you look at it, what it was like, they had about like every single output you could think of at the back. Like they had all different card slots at the front. It was a multimedia beast. It was just so much stuff.
It was a weapon.
It was a weapon that was completely unproductive to make games for. But hey,
I had a terrible UI.
But hey, it had some absolute great exclusives.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to great PlayStation exclusives. Ratchet and Clank's 60 FPS PS5 update is live ahead of schedule. This is over at Games Radar by Jordan Gerblick. Okay, so Insomniac Games took to Twitter to share the good news, writing, "Surprise! The update is now live. Get blasting, Rangers." Games journalist Joseph Yaden also took notice of the update's availability, sharing a screen grab of the game's update history, which now lists enhanced performance for PlayStation 5 console. It's still not too late to grab the game for free as part of Sony's Sony's Play at Home program, which has been dropping free games to encourage people to stay home while we wait out the pandemic. Keep in mind, Ratchet & Clank will go back to its normal price after the 31st of March, so you've got about 24 hours to take advantage of this sweet deal. We have it now. By the time this goes out, this will be gone.
Yeah.
So Insomniac Games has announced that 2016's Ratchet & Clank is getting a 60 FPS update on PS5 sometime in April. So this story has been updated since then. So they kind of just dropped it, which was, I've never seen this stuff happen normally. They announced a few days when this story went out that they were bringing this update coming out, and then they just out of nowhere, it's like, yep, it's done. Ahead of Ratchet & Clank's Rift Apart's June launch, the update makes a strong case for playing replaying the original PS4 adventure. In case your gaming budget is running a little tight, worry not. Ratchet & Clank is still free to download, but you've been through that. So, I am particularly interested in this because I played through Ratchet & Clank last year, and I'm going to be doing my second playthrough soon to get that plat, because there's just a few. I think I just have to play through the game on challenge mode. and just a few things to collect and a couple of trophies and stuff like that, and then get it. So I'm going to be interested to see, coming off the back of it, how well it looks in 60 FPS. I'm sure it'll benefit quite a lot because it's still a pretty game, still holds up very well. But yeah, Adam, we've talked about this before. Did you play Ratchet and Clank at all? And would this kind of with the free version and the 60 FPS going to encourage you to get on it?
So I had played Ratchet and Clank before, yeah. I downloaded this as part of the Play at Home, and I'm going to do it in. I've not started it yet, and I'm going to just do it in 60 FPS, because why wouldn't you? And enjoy it that way, and get ready for what's it called? A Rift in Time? Is it called
a Rift Apart?
A Rift Apart. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Rift Apart. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a go. I won't be going for the plat. I think it'll be a one and done playthrough. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Vince, and did you? I can't remember if you said you did play Ratchet and Clank, didn't you? 2016.
Oh yeah. 2016. I love that game. It was so good. It was such a trip down memory lane, reimagined all over again, kind of like with the Spyro remaster and everything like that. But in its own new entirety of a game, because I played through the game, beat it, then went and watched the movie because yes, they did the Ratchet and Clank movie, which the game was based off the movie, but the movie was based off the game at the same time. Is wild. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. It was okay. But I want a PS5. I want to play this game again now with enhancements for the PS5. And I absolutely want to play a Rift Apart because that game looks incredible. I'm a big Ratchet and Clank fan.
It really does. Yeah, and we did the same, Vince. After we completed the game, I watched the film with the kids because I think it was on Amazon Prime. I can't remember what we saw.
I believe so.
Yeah, and I mean, it was okay. It was decent. It was serviceable, but it wasn't very much like the footnotes of the game, which is as you said, the game is. It's quite clever how they did it, really, because it's just a reboot of the original PS2 Ratchet and Clank game, but told slightly because it's told from a different perspective. They could change things a little bit, which was quite cool the way they did that. So
it was so smart.
What's your favorite Ratchet and Clank game?
Favorite Ratchet and Clank game? That's tough because after playing 2016, it's up there. It was so good because we went through a drought where we didn't have any Ratchet and Clank games.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull a random one out.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be Going Commando. Just because game was
2, right?
I think that's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's number 2.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I played them, but
what was I think it was game. the third one, which had a different name in the UK, in Europe to the States. I think third one in America was called Up Your Arsenal.
Yeah,
Up Your Arsenal.
And I don't think that was here. Maybe due to Arsenal, because they're saying up the Arsenal. Maybe that's clash of that. But I can't remember what the third one was called in Europe.
I'm kind of going to look
that up on my shelf right now, actually.
Oh, you probably do, don't you?
It was called.
The Ratchet and Clank series.
I think it was just Ratchet and Clank 3, wasn't it?
Was it? That's boring.
Yeah, it was just Ratchet and Clank 3.
See, the UK is usually so great with names, but
we drop the ball every once in a while.
Yeah, just calling it Ratchet and Clank 3. Come on
now.
In Europe and Japan, Ratchet and Clank 3, Up Your Arsenal.
Oh, here.
Wait, get out of here, Ed. That was Ratchet and Clank 3.
Yeah, just
3.
The platinum version. Remember those?
Oh yeah, they don't do that anymore, which is kind of sad because Xbox kind of had the same thing too.
Yeah, it was a thing. You had to sell 1 million copies, and then they'd have the platinum version where it would be £20, which is a lot cheaper. No, I think mine. I love the original. The original PS2 game, because I've got always strong memories to that. But Tools of Destruction, I think
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, the PS3, because that was the one that I first remember seeing. Wow, okay, this is what the PlayStation 3 can do. This is when someone knows what they're doing with it. It showed so much potential. And A Crack in Time was awesome. Crack in Time was really, I think, the kind of peak of what they were doing. But yeah, 2016 was really good as well. Really good. But I think the new one, A Rift Apart, I think that could be, from what I'm seeing, could be the one.
You know, a cool fact about Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction.
Yeah.
The director of that, Brian Algier, also directed Spyro 2 and Spyro 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he did them. And he also did Resistance, Fall of Man.
Yeah. All
underrated.
Good
He
Insomniac
did a lot.
games.
He did a lot of games, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games.
Does anyone remember Disruptor on the PS1?
Disruptor, no.
Pretty sure that was Insomniac's first game. It was FPS on the PlayStation 1, and pretty good, like, for the time, like technology wise, very like Doom like, but it was like a lot of robots and stuff like that. But yeah, I used to play that back in the day. That was that would have been, might have been pre Spyro. Might have been. Yeah, good stuff. But that wraps up all of our stories for this week's Shifty Crab news break, until next Friday. But before then, you'll be able to check out our next Sunday Fun Day challenge this Sunday. What's in store for us? Who knows? Only Vince. Only Vince.
Only I know.
With his secrets and his plotting and planning. But looking forward to finding that out. So yeah, check that out on Sunday. And then we will be back on Monday for campaign mode. And you'll have to wait and see what we're debating there. Or can we let the guys know, or do we keep that secret?
I think we should let them know what we're debating. I think we should let them know. We won't tell them what the choices were, but you can tell them the subject if you want.
Which was this week's campaign mode will be the greatest platform exclusive of all time. So any game we could choose, platform exclusive. So
all three of them are very good choices.
As you can imagine, that's, there's many great games you could choose from there. So there's 3 great titles warring it out. So yeah, please do check that out. But yeah, until then, for Newsbreak, we'll be back next Friday. And everyone, stay safe, keep gaming, and stay shifty.